I don't choose these stories. They find me. Listen carefully. Fear is usually something we generate inside ourselves. But every so often, it arrives from the outside, like a pressure system moving across the land, indifferent to whoever happens to be standing beneath it. The story came from a veterinarian I met years ago, a pragmatic man, soft-spoken, deeply rational, the kind who trusts numbers more than instincts. He had spent a portion of his career managing an elite genetic goat farm in the Colombian Coffee Axis, a beautiful place, rolling emerald hills, early morning mist, and the quiet that settles over farmland once the last worker goes home. He lived on site, in a small house only a short walk from the main barn. Part of his routine was doing a final nightly check on the animals around 10 o'clock. He told me he could do that walk half asleep and never feel a moment of unease. Until one night, he stepped outside, lantern in hand, and halfway to the barn he felt something he could not explain, an oppressive terror so sudden, so overwhelming, he stopped mid-step. He wasn't anxious. He wasn't imagining shadows. He felt attacked by fear, as if something in the dark had turned and noticed him. He said it felt external, like fear pressing inward, not rising from within. This man was not religious, not superstitious, not prone to panic. Yet that night, he began to pray aloud, feverishly, desperately. The words felt pulled from him, not chosen. The pressure vanished the moment he reached the barn door. But what waited inside made the fear return on a different level. Barns are usually predictable places. Animals follow their patterns. Smells and sounds repeat. But that night, nothing was as it should be. The newborn kids, normally kept 3 per wooden box, had forced themselves into a single crate. The box was too tall, too narrow, too separated for them to reach each other naturally. Yet somehow they had done it. They huddled so tightly he couldn't distinguish one from another, trembling as though trying to hide inside one another's bodies. Then he looked at the adults. Goats usually spread out, lie down, chew cud, or wander the bar in idle loops. These goats were silent and rigid, standing in a perfect circle at the center of the barn, facing outward. Their eyes were wide, ears pinned, coats rigid. Low, almost inaudible vocalizations vibrated in their throats. The sound goats make only in 2 situations: during a brutal birth, or when they sense a predator large enough to kill them all. But the barn was undisturbed. No broken boards, no paw prints, no scent of blood, nothing. He walked the perimeter, nothing. It was too quiet, not the calm of safety, the quiet of something enormous holding its breath. He stayed with the herd. No one should leave animals in that state. The adults watched the dark corners of the barn with absolute concentration. They shifted only when he moved among them, eyes flicking towards shadows he couldn't see. At one point, he turned to the open barn door and felt the same pressure he'd sensed outside, a dense weight in the air, like the presence of something vast and silent pressing against the world. He described it as an awareness, something moving along the edges of the pasture, something whose intention was unreadable, but whose nature was not benign. Even the kids in the crate whimpered, pressing deeper into their impossible hiding place. He walked toward the door again, lantern raised, and the pressure receded as if whatever was out there took a single step back. He didn't question it. He didn't chase it. He simply returned to the goats and continued praying, not because of faith, but because something in him needed a boundary between himself and whatever was passing by. By midnight, the animals gradually relaxed. One by one, the ring dissolved. The kids fell back into natural patterns. The adults started chewing cud again, and when the fear evaporated, it left no trace. No scent trail, no broken grass, No explanation. The next morning, the farm was normal. Birds sang, goats wandered. The sun revealed nothing unusual. But the vet knew what he felt and what he saw. He asked me years later what I thought had happened. I gave him several possibilities, none comforting. Animals respond to infrasound. I told him certain frequencies below human hearing can trigger panic and the sense of being watched. Storms, elephants, volcanoes, and large predators all produce it. But there have been no storms, no predators, no machinery, no wind. Predator scent can also cause panic. Jaguar, ocelot, or even a boa constrictor passing near the property. But predators leave traces, footprints, scat, disruption. There were none. Then I mentioned local folklore, spirits said to pass through forests and mountains, since before seen, terrifying animals before terrifying humans. La Patasola, La Tunda, Ilmuan, old presences, older than farms or fences. The vet listened in silence. Finally, I told him what unsettled me most. I've heard of similar cases far from Colombia. Goats forming silent rings in Turkey, sheep clustering in New Mexico, cattle arranging themselves in Argentina, deer freezing in shrines in Japan. Different animals, different continents, same pattern. A sudden oppressive fear experienced by the human caretaker. Animals clustering in unnatural formations. No predator, no sound, no trace. A gradual return to normal. I call it the encirclement pattern, and it suggests the presence of something that doesn't hunt in the traditional sense, but moves through territory in a way prey animals understand instinctively. Something that emits pressure or vibration or intention. Something that does not linger. Something that simply passes by. The case ends here, for now. Reality bends more easily than people can imagine.